Next up, we're going to look at the Illumination tab, and the Illumination tab is essentially how we would use lights to control our effect. So this is more applicable to smoke than it is to fire, as fire isn't affected by light, as it's a light source itself. And down the bottom, though, in multiple scattering, that is something that will apply to fire. But for the time being, let's just take a look at this. So first of all, you can add and remove lights very easily just by clicking Get and selecting the light, and it will appear in the shot, or in the list here anyway. So one thing to keep in mind is that if you want to cast and receive shadows, once you've added it, you need to go into Smoke, and you need to turn on your cast receive shadows. So here I just got a fresh scene. It's just your flame burst 2. I'm going to enable cast and receive shadows. Without that being turned on, it just means that we're going to get a very flat yet illuminated smoke. If you do not render smoke without any lights in there, you will not see any smoke because it needs lights to illuminate it. So here we can see our smoke, and it will look kind of flat. So we turn on cast and receive shadows. Now it will be able to cast and receive shadows. So there's a bit more calculation time involved, but then we get a lot more realistic and thicker smoke. Now I'm just going to move to the angle where my light is coming from, so that way I'm not dealing with the shadowed side, and it should be a bit brighter. Alright, so there we can see we're getting a bit better, more realistic effect. Now, the one thing to keep in mind is that before we can get our lights to cast and receive shadows, we need to go in. Like if I was to create a new light, I go to the Create panel, I create any kind of light that I want, but usually I just use a standard light here, and I'm going to drag that out and position it. I'll go to the Modify panel, and the first thing I need to do is enable shadows. This is very important, obviously, as otherwise my light will not know to cast shadows. And also, you can either use AB shadow map, you can use anything you want almost, but I usually use a ray trace shadow, or AB shadow map is good too. You just need to bump up the resolution usually. I like ray trace. It gives me an accurate result that I'm always expecting it to do, and it will kind of sample or step through shaders a little bit better, so I prefer to use that. Now, just by turning on cast shadows, you'd think that'd be all you need to do, but basically for our shadows, they usually work with geometry, so for them to actually communicate with volumetrics like Fume Effects, we need to create a bridge over into Fume Effects. So if we go to shadow parameters, there's a little checkbox here. Turn that on, atmosphere shadows. And we have the opacity and color amount, stuff like that. I never touch it, but it is good to have that, just to, again, if you wanted to play with it universally. But I now have turned atmosphere shadows on. Now, without doing that, you won't be able to get your shadows to cast in Fume Effects. But by turning it on, I'm going to go and select my Fume Effects. I'll go into my Illumination tab, add my light in, so it shows up here. And lastly, I just need to make sure that cast and receive shadows are turned on here. So it's essentially tell it to cast shadows, turn on shadow atmospherics, and then turn on cast receive shadows here after you've added it in, and you'll be able to get it to do what it's expected to do, and that is to cast and receive shadows. The atmosphere shadows is essentially just a bridge to output that information into the atmospherics, so that's why it's necessary to have. Otherwise it doesn't really know how to read it because the information isn't exposed to have it. So also, if you want to, you can remove the light. You can add multiple lights in here if you want to. Just like the rendering tab, we also have information here on our shadows. So this is something where we might want to add more detail into our shadows or make it a bit fuzzier. This is where we can do that. So I might look at that and say, okay, well, I want to get a bit more detail calculated inside of my shadows. I can bump my step size down. I've pretty much never used this. Again, it is good to have, and it just depends. If you're doing a really dense render that has very harsh shadows, like very strong, very dense, that's something I might want to put a lot more detail into it, but most of the time I don't really need it. At the same time, you might want to noise up your effect to get rid of the voxels, stuff like that. Again, it's there. I've never really needed to, but if you want to do a lower res sims, it's a good way to kind of break that up.